name is Castro Boateng, and I'm the owner of House Boateng Cafe and Catering and Hub Fine Foods. It all started on my first trip to Canada. I was 9 years old. My family moved to Toronto, and I had my first culinary experience on a plane. I still remember the day, and I still remember what I ate. Best barbecue chicken I had in my life. Didn't know that cooking was going to be a part of my life. Didn't know food was going to be a part of my life. All I knew that in my culture, gathering was very, very important. And every occasion always came with food. We celebrate funerals. We celebrate the life. We celebrate what the people brought to us. We celebrate new babies, and it's always around food. So over the years of going through high school, that food was calling me. My family wasn't a family full of chefs, but I liked the whole idea. My first job was a dishwasher in a hotel, and I really admired the chefs. They felt like rock stars to me, coming to work late, showing up with their knife case. It was something that really intrigued me, but what got me started was when they asked me to start tasting food. I just really, really liked that almost rock star feeling of a young chef. I didn't understand what the job was. I didn't understand how hard they worked. My first experience as a chef was in Toronto, and over my time there, the chefs encouraged me to take an apprenticeship course. The first thing they said to me was, you can travel and go anywhere in the world if you become a cook. And that was very important because I've always wanted to travel. I saw that opportunity was something for me, and so I enrolled into the apprenticeship program. Spent 3 years in an apprenticeship program, worked around the city for about 4.5 years, and realized that it was time for me to travel. First experience in travel was Scotland. I had the pleasure of going to Turnberry Resort in Glasgow, outside of Glasgow, and that was an experience of a lifetime. When you get removed from your comfort zone and you go to a place where you don't know anybody, you really challenge yourself. And being in Scotland, where food was very, very important in the hotel that I worked at, learning was very, very important in that hotel that I worked at, I knew it was the place to be. I fell in love with the food because, you know, we had our fisherman come into the back door, and he would bring a tub of his caught for the day, you know, and you look into the tub and you have 2 salmon, maybe 8 Dover sole, maybe 4 brim. You know, you'd have all these fish, and we would use that fish throughout the week. And what was nice about it is once we ran out of one fish, we moved to the next fish, which as a young cook, it was really, really interesting to see all the different fish coming through. And then the cheeses, you know, we used to have cheeses all around the world. What was amazing about that experience was the people working with and the people working alongside. We were a very tight-knit crew, and our chefs were very, very disciplined. They really pushed us to the limit, but they also gave us the opportunity to learn. It's been a long journey. It's been a very, very long journey to get to here. When I was in high school, I was a business major. I really was intrigued about being in business. I never knew I was going to become a business owner, but throughout working in the restaurant, working in hotels, I met a lot of leaders who taught me the importance of the business part of what we do. They encouraged me to always look at what something costs. They encouraged me to always look at how do we make it better for the customer. You know, it was just the right thing for me. And going from Scotland to traveling through the Caribbean, coming back to Canada and going to Banff and working, it gave me a sense of pride. It gave me a sense of I can actually do this as a career forever. When I moved to the island, I had a great opportunity to work at one of the best hotels on the island. And once that hotel closed, I knew the opportunity to get out on my own. So I took the leap of faith, and now 10 years later, almost 15 years later, we're at our 2 space here. We originally, when we started the company, we were a catering company. And at first it was just really a job for myself. I wanted to be able to work for myself. I started doing a lot of catering around the town, really small events. And from one small event, you do a good job, you pick up another event and so forth. So we had the catering business for 4 years. And after 4 years, we realized that our catering was getting better and better and we needed a bigger space. So we found a space in Langford and we opened up the first cafe, which was Castro Boateng Cafe. It was the love of my life. You know, my wife and I got into this space and we made it our own. She loves entertaining, she loves decorating, so she did everything out front. And I actually set up the kitchen as well. When we opened the restaurant, it was really a chance to increase our catering business. Little did we know that we were putting together a beautiful space, a gathering space for our community. And throughout the years, we really established a nice community-based restaurant. And from there, you know, going through the pandemic, we had to shift. And ours it was more of, we wanted to make sure that we continue building the business. We end up going into doing more meals to go. We end up doing more of our jars. We end up getting into a product line. We created about 6 to 8 beautiful sauces. And through that, we realized that the business was growing and we needed a better function space. So about last year in February, we saw a restaurant that was very close by our restaurant that had fallen on some hard times, and the space was available, so we wanted to revitalize the space and bring it back and make sure that the community can use it. So we built a commercial kitchen where we can do our catering, where we can do long table dinners, and then during the day it's used as a retail shop. The most successful part of my business is seeing people come into the space and enjoying it. We build a space where we find it's driven by love, it's driven by community. And you know, if you want to be a chef or if you want to be a restaurateur, you need to really look to work hard. And you need to take your time and put the effort into it. It's taken me almost 20 years to get here. It's taken me a long time to realize my potential. But what's important is I still do the same job that I used to do. You know, I still, as an owner, I'm still a part of the kitchen. I'm still a part of the front of the house. I wash dishes. You know, you have to be willing to do everything to make it out in our business. My inspiration really comes from my background. I was fortunate enough to have some fantastic food growing up. I grew up also in Toronto, which I had a lot of Caribbean people around me. So through growing up in Toronto and coming from Africa, we wanted to have food that was reflecting that kind of flavor. So our concept we're still building our concept. We like to think it's a great modern Caribbean and African flavors. But we live out on Vancouver Island and we have the best of the produce on the island. So we really utilize our spices that I grew up with, the flavors that I grew up with ingredients on Vancouver Island. So it's really a West Coast food with African flavors. I come from a coast. I come from the Gold Coast in Ghana. So it's from one coast to the other and we try to bridge the gap in between.